A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a surprising turn of events, Washington has expressed objections to labeling Russia as the aggressor in the ongoing Ukraine war, marking a potential shift in the dynamics of support for Ukraine from its most powerful ally. This development comes as the world prepares to commemorate the 3-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Diplomatic sources have revealed that the United States is refusing to co-sponsor a draft resolution at the United Nations that has been a staple of international condemnation against Russia since the conflict began in February 2022. The implications of this stance are significant, considering the historical context of U.S. support for Ukraine, which has relied heavily on military aid and diplomatic backing from the Biden administration. This rift is underscored by tensions between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump. Recent interactions between the two nations have been strained, particularly following the cancellation of a scheduled news conference between Zelensky and Trump's special envoy for Ukraine, Kyiv. This cancellation, requested by Washington, has raised eyebrows among observers who note the importance of maintaining a united front in the face of Russian aggression. Trump's administration is reportedly seeking to expedite an end to the war in Ukraine, even sending a delegation to Saudi Arabia for talks with Russia that did not include Ukrainian representatives. This move has further complicated the situation, as Ukraine's allies have traditionally used the anniversaries of the war to reaffirm their support for Ukraine and condemn Russian actions. However, this year, the approach seems to be shifting, leaving many uncertain about the future of U.S. involvement in the conflict. The UN General Assembly is set to vote on a draft resolution that reaffirms Ukraine's territorial integrity and demands the withdrawal of Russian troops. While such resolutions are not binding, they carry significant political weight and reflect the global stance on the war. Historically, the United States has co-sponsored similar resolutions, but sources indicate that this time, the U.S. is unwilling to sign on. With more than 50 countries reportedly sponsoring the resolution, the absence of U.S. support could have profound implications for international solidarity against Russian aggression. The G7, which includes Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, has also faced challenges in reaching a consensus regarding language that condemns Russian actions. A recent statement from G7 foreign ministers failed to mention Russian aggression, instead referring to Russia's devastating war in Ukraine. This omission has sparked concerns about the potential weakening of the coalition's united front against Russia. For Ukraine, this political crisis comes at a time when it has heavily relied on U.S. military aid to sustain its defense against Russian advances. The Biden administration has committed tens of billions of dollars in support, making the current shift in U.S. rhetoric particularly alarming for Kyiv. Following his meeting with Kellogg, Zelensky described their conversation as productive, focusing on security guarantees and the return of Ukrainian prisoners. However, the lack of a public statement following their meeting raises questions about the effectiveness of their discussions. Zelensky has previously accused Trump of echoing Russian disinformation, particularly in light of Trump's suggestion that Ukraine initiated the conflict. Trump's recent comments, labeling Zelensky as a dictator, have further escalated tensions. As Trump seeks to rebuild ties with Russia and explore investment opportunities in Ukraine's mineral resources, the Ukrainian government remains wary of any agreements that do not include robust security guarantees. In response to Trump's evolving stance, European leaders have signaled their intention to bolster defense spending and consider establishing a U.S.-backed European peacekeeping force in Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron, set to meet Trump soon, has voiced his concerns over a perceived weakness towards Putin, emphasizing that credibility on the global stage hinges on a strong stance against Russian aggression. The possibility of a meeting between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin is contingent upon tangible progress in resolving the conflict in Ukraine, according to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. As Russia continues to occupy approximately 20% of Ukrainian territory and gradually expand its hold in eastern regions, the situation remains precarious. Moscow has justified its military actions as a response to perceived threats from NATO, while Ukraine and its allies firmly categorize these actions as imperialist land grabs. As the situation unfolds, the international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that upholds Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity while addressing the complexities of geopolitical relations. The next steps taken by the U.S. and its allies will be critical in determining the future trajectory of the conflict and the stability of the region as a whole. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.